All right, so this week, the Super Bowl's coming up, right? And you send over this really interesting article. It's from the Smart Investor podcast, all about some investing opportunities, surrounding the Super Bowl, surrounding the big game.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Super Bowl 2025.
Oh, wow.
Chiefs and the Eagles are going head-to-head, and Americans are expected to wager a record $24 billion,
Whoa.
which is a huge jump
That's wild.
from just a few years ago when sports betting was legalized in a lot of states.
It really shows how much the market has exploded, huh?
Yeah.
I think 38 states now allow it.
Yeah, 38 states, and it's projected to be a $50 billion market
Oh, wow.
in just a few years.
Gosh, I gotta admit, though, I'm not much of a gambler myself.
Well, that's the interesting thing about this. You don't actually have to be a gambler
Okay.
to potentially profit from this trend.
Right.
This article pinpoints 5 specific stocks that could do extremely well,
Okay.
no matter who wins the Super Bowl.
Now you're speaking my language. I
Yeah.
love finding those hidden gems and riding those emerging trends.
Absolutely.
So let's get into it. What's the first company we should be looking at?
Well, the first one is Genius Sports, ticker symbol GNI.
Genius Sports.
They're a major player in the world of sports data.
Okay, Genius Sports data dynamos. What makes them stand out?
Well, they've secured exclusive partnerships with over 700 teams,
Wow.
including the NFL.
Oh, wow.
They're the ones providing the real-time data
Right.
that feeds everything from the odds you see
Okay.
to the in-game bets you can place.
Got it.
Even media giants like Verizon rely on their data.
So they're kind of like the central nervous system of
yeah.
the whole sports betting world.
I like that analogy.
But where does the money come in for them?
Their revenue comes from licensing and revenue sharing agreements
Okay.
with all those betting sites. And what's really interesting is that they actually make 3 times more money
Okay.
from in-game bets than from pre-game bets.
Hold on. 3 times more. Why is that?
It all comes down to engagement.
Okay.
Think about it. When you're watching the game
Right.
and you can place bets on every play,
Mm-hmm.
you're way more glued to the action.
Right.
That constant stream of data is what makes in-game betting so exciting
Yeah.
and lucrative. And Genius Sports is right at the heart of it,
Yeah.
feeding that demand.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about the data itself. It's how that data is used to create an experience
That's exactly.
that keeps people coming back for more.
And Genius Sports isn't just sitting back. They're actively innovating
Right.
to enhance that fan engagement even further. They've launched a new AI-powered product called FanHub,
Oh, wow.
which personalizes the experience even more.
Smart move. So what kind of results are we seeing with Genius Sports?
Last year, their revenue jumped by 18%,
Okay.
which is impressive on its own.
Right.
But their EBITDA,
Right.
that's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Got it.
So a key indicator of profitability soared by a whopping 45%.
A 45% jump in EBITDA.
That's a fantastic sign.
Yeah, they're doing something right.
Clearly, they're doing something right.
Analysts are predicting a 15% revenue growth rate for 2025,
Wow.
with a target of $590 million in revenue. If they outperform those expectations,
Right.
their stock could really take off.
Genius Sports is certainly one to keep an eye on. So what's next on our Super Bowl stock watch list?
Well, you can't talk about online betting without mentioning DraftKings,
Okay.
ticker symbol DKNG.
DraftKings.
They are a dominant force in both online sports betting and iGaming,
Right.
which includes online casinos.
DraftKings, I've definitely heard of them. They seem to be everywhere these days.
They have a massive user base with 9.3 million active users. Wow. And brought in a staggering $4.6 billion in revenue in 2023. To put that in perspective, that's about a third of the entire U.S. market.
Whoa, a third of the entire market.
Yeah.
That's a huge piece of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard they're offering a $5 million jackpot for the Super Bowl to attract new users.
Yeah.
That's a pretty genius marketing move.
If you ask me.
It's a smart way to capitalize on the hype and excitement of the Super Bowl.
Right.
And get even more people onto their platform.
So they're clearly already doing incredibly well. But what makes them an interesting investment opportunity right now?
They've seen a remarkable 30% annual revenue growth rate,
Okay.
and projections indicate that this growth will accelerate in 2025.
Wow.
And from a valuation standpoint, DraftKings is currently trading at 4.4 times its revenue,
Okay.
which is actually about 10% lower than its historical average.
So they're growing, rapidly capturing a huge chunk of the market.
Mm-hmm.
And their stock might actually be undervalued.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Plus, they're constantly innovating and improving their app,
Right.
which helps them stay ahead of the competition.
DraftKings is definitely worth a closer look.
Yeah.
Now let's go global for a moment and talk about Flutter Entertainment.
Okay.
Ticker symbol FLUT.
Flutter Entertainment
What do they do?
is the parent company of FanDuel,
Oh, wow.
which is the biggest sports betting operator worldwide. They have a massive reach with 32 million users
Wow.
and generated a whopping $13 billion in revenue last year. And unlike DraftKings, which is primarily focused on the U.S., Flutter has a strong international presence. About 63% of their revenue comes from outside the U.S.
So they're playing on a much larger field. Diversification is always good when it comes to investing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else makes Flutter stand out?
Well, in the U.S. market, FanDuel actually holds a slightly larger share than DraftKings at 39%.
Okay.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Flutter's revenue from iGaming,
Right?
those online casinos we talked about, is 25 times higher than its sports betting revenue.
25 times higher.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is.
So while they're a major player in the sports betting world,
Right.
they're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And they're seeing impressive profit growth as well.
Okay.
Flutter is projected to see an 85% increase in profits this year.
An 85% increase.
Right.
That's massive. How does Flutter's valuation compare to DraftKings?
Flutter stock is currently valued at 3.7 times its revenue,
Okay.
which is an even more favorable ratio than DraftKings.
Okay, so they're a global powerhouse with diverse revenue streams, strong growth,
Yep.
and a potentially attractive valuation.
That's right.
I'm starting to see why they're on the list. Let's move on to another data-driven company, Sportradar Group.
Okay.
Ticker symbol SRAD.
Sportradar is another giant in the world of sports data.
Okay, Sportradar.
They operate on a truly global scale,
Okay.
managing data for over 400 sports leagues and an incredible 90% of betting sites worldwide.
90% of betting sites.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the entire playing field.
Pretty much.
What kind of volume are we talking about here?
They handle the data for a mind-boggling 450,000 live sports broadcasts annually.
Oh my goodness.
They're basically the backbone of the global sports betting industry.
That's a lot of data to wrangle. So how are they doing financially?
They've been growing steadily at about 25% annually.
Okay.
And they hit $1 billion in revenue last year. And just like Flutter, they benefit from global diversification. 78% of their revenue comes from outside the U.S.
Okay.
So they're not overly reliant on any single market.
Okay. Sportradar, global reach, solid growth, and a data-driven model.
Exactly.
Now for our final pick, let's talk about a potential underdog.
Okay.
Gambling.com, ticker symbol GMB.
Gambling.com is an interesting one. They've been called the booking.com of sports betting.
Really?
And their business model is all about connecting bettors with the best deals.
That sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
They essentially compare betting odds across various platforms
Okay.
and generate revenue through advertising.
Right.
So they're not actually taking the bets themselves,
Got it.
but they're helping bettors find the most favorable odds
Yeah.
and getting a cut of the action.
So they're playing the middleman.
Yep.
Which can be a very smart play.
Yeah.
What's their growth trajectory looking like?
Their growth has been phenomenal. They achieved a 60% annual growth rate last year,
Oh, wow.
reaching $108 million in revenue.
A 60% growth rate. Now, that's impressive. What's driving that kind of growth?
They've been very strategic with acquisitions,
Okay.
buying up companies like Odds Holdings and freebets.com
Right.
to expand their reach and their offerings.
So they're not just organically growing. They're strategically acquiring other companies to scale up even faster.
That's right.
That's a bold move.
It's a strategy that seems to be paying off so far.
Yeah.
They're definitely one to watch in this space.
All right. Gambling.com will be keeping an eye on you. So we've covered 5 companies here, all with very different approaches to the sports betting market.
Right.
What are some of the key takeaways for our listener who might be thinking about adding some of these stocks to their portfolio?
Well, the most important thing is to remember that every investment carries risks.
Right.
It's essential to do your research, understand the company's business model, and consider your own investment goals and risk tolerance.
Okay, that's sound advice. But beyond the general do your research disclaimer, what are some of the specific things our listeners should be thinking about with these 5 companies?
If you're looking for a company with a proven track record
Okay.
and a strong foothold in the U.S. market, DraftKings could be a solid option.
DraftKings. Okay. And for those who are attracted to the idea of international diversification and like the idea of a company with a broader portfolio beyond just sports betting,
Right.
Flutter Entertainment might be worth considering.
Absolutely. If you're intrigued by the data-driven side of this industry and want to invest in the companies that are powering the entire ecosystem, Genius Sports and Sportradar are both leaders in that space.
Genius of Sports, Sportradar. Okay.
Yeah.
And for those who are comfortable with a bit more risk and like the idea of a high-growth, a potentially high-reward company, gambling.com could be an intriguing option.
Exactly. It really comes down to understanding the nuances of each company
Right.
and deciding which one aligns best with your individual investment style and goals.
Well, that's a great overview of these 5 companies. But it's clear that the Super Bowl's impact extends far beyond just these specific stocks. We'll be back in the next part of our deep dive to explore some of those broader trends.
There's a lot more to uncover. We'll be looking at cybersecurity, the rise of esports,
Oh, wow.
and even the social impact of this rapidly expanding industry.
Can't wait. Okay, so we just explored 5 companies, poised to benefit from the Super Bowl betting frenzy.
Yeah.
But now let's kind of like shift gears a little bit and consider some of the broader implications of this booming industry, I love connecting the dots, so lay it on me. What else should we be thinking about?
Well, remember how we talked about the sheer volume of bets during the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Well, all that data creates some unique challenges.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. More data means more opportunities for things to go wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With so much money flowing through these systems, security becomes absolutely paramount.
Makes sense. You don't want a technical glitch or a security breach affecting the outcome of a billion-dollar bet.
Absolutely not. And that's where cybersecurity comes in.
Okay.
Companies specializing in cybersecurity for the gaming and financial industries are in high demand right now.
So you're saying cybersecurity stocks could be another way to play this trend, like a hidden gem
Yeah.
within the Super Bowl investing landscape?
It's definitely an angle worth considering.
Yeah.
These companies are the guardians of this entire ecosystem,
Right.
making sure everything operates smoothly and securely. Without them,
Right.
the whole thing could crumble.
Okay, so we've got the data providers, the betting platforms, and now the cybersecurity firms. This Super Bowl investing web is getting more and more complex.
It gets even more interesting when you consider how the lines between traditional sports betting and online gaming are blurring.
That's intriguing. What do you mean by that?
Think about Flutter Entertainment and their massive revenue from iGaming.
Okay.
People aren't just betting on the Super Bowl anymore.
Right.
They're looking for immersive entertainment experiences online.
So it's not just about who wins or loses the game. It's about the entire experience surrounding it.
Precisely. Online casinos, virtual reality games, esports.
Oh, wow.
It's all part of this evolving landscape.
Okay. So how does this shift impact our investment strategy?
It means we need to broaden our perspective.
Okay.
Look beyond just the sports betting companies and consider the companies developing those cutting-edge gaming technologies and platforms.
So instead of putting all our chips on one type of bet,
Right.
we should be diversifying our portfolio to include companies shaping the future of entertainment.
Exactly. It's all about understanding the interconnectedness of these industries and identifying the companies at the forefront of these converging trends.
Yeah, I love how this is unfolding. It's like we're peeling back the layers of the onion and uncovering all these hidden opportunities.
That's what makes it so exciting. The Super Bowl isn't just a game anymore.
Right.
It's a catalyst for innovation and investment across multiple industries.
So we've explored the data angle, the security angle, and this convergence of gaming and entertainment. What other insights can you share?
Well, let's talk about fan engagement, another area where technology is playing a transformative role.
Okay.
Companies are leveraging artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and other cutting-edge technologies to create personalized and interactive experiences for fans.
So it's not just about passively watching the game on TV anymore.
Exactly. Imagine placing bets in real time,
Right.
interacting with other fans in virtual environments, even accessing exclusive content through augmented reality overlays.
Whoa, that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It's closer than you think.
Oh, wow.
Companies like Genius Sports with their Fan Hub platform
Right.
pushing those boundaries.
So the fan experience is getting more immersive and interactive. But how does this translate into investment opportunities?
The companies developing these innovative technologies and platforms are the ones to watch.
Okay.
Think about companies specializing in AI, AR, VR, and even social media integration.
It's like we're searching for those picks and shovels during a gold rush.
Right.
The company's providing the tools and infrastructure for this new era of entertainment.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And here's another layer to consider: the rise of esports.
Esports. How do they fit into this Super Bowl investing puzzle?
The esports market is exploding.
Okay.
It's attracting a whole new generation of fans and bettors.
So it's like a parallel universe of sports betting with its own players, teams, and leagues.
Exactly. And unlike traditional sports, esports aren't limited by geography or seasons.
Right.
They can be played and watched anytime, anywhere.
Now I'm starting to see the potential here. Investing in esports companies could be a way to tap into a whole new market of passionate fans and bettors.
Precisely. And many traditional sports betting platforms like DraftKings and FanDuel
Right.
are already expanding into the esports realm.
So they're not just competing against each other. They're competing against this whole new wave of esports-focused platforms as well.
That's right. The competition is fierce, but the potential rewards are enormous.
Yeah.
The global esports market is projected to reach over $2 billion
Wow.
in revenue by 2025.
$2 billion.
Yeah,
That's a lot of virtual trophies being handed out.
it is.
So how do we identify those esports companies that are worth betting on?
Look for companies with a strong track record, a loyal fan base, and a clear vision for the future of esports.
Okay.
Think about factors like viewership numbers, player engagement, tournament organization,
Right.
and the overall health of their ecosystem.
So it's about finding those esports companies that are well-established, innovative, and financially sound.
Exactly. And remember, this landscape is evolving rapidly.
Yeah.
So staying informed and adapting your strategy is key.
This is a lot to take in, but it's so fascinating to see how the worlds of sports entertainment and technology are colliding.
It really is. And we're just scratching the surface.
Oh my goodness.
We'll continue our exploration in the final part of our Super Bowl deep dive,
Okay.
where we'll examine the social impact of this rapidly expanding industry.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We're into Super Bowl investing, huh?
Absolutely. From data giants to
Yeah.
cybersecurity firms,
Yeah.
esports to the metaverse.
It's amazing how many industries are impacted by this, one massive event.
Yeah, it really is.
But there's one crucial aspect we haven't discussed yet.
Yeah, that's right.
Intrigued. What's the missing piece of the puzzle?
The social impact
Okay.
of this rapidly expanding sports betting landscape,
Right.
as it becomes more mainstream, we need to be mindful of the potential downsides.
That's a really important point.
Hmm?
What are some of the challenges that we should be thinking about?
Well, responsible gaming is a major one.
Okay.
We need to make sure people are betting within their means
Right.
and that there are resources available for those who might struggle with gambling addiction.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement, especially with all these, sophisticated apps and personalized promotions you were talking about earlier.
Exactly. The very technology that makes sports betting so engaging can also make it more addictive.
Right. So we're not just talking about financial risks for investors, we're talking about potential risks for society as a whole.
That's right. And that's why it's important for investors to consider the ethical implications of their choices.
So it's not just about making money, it's about investing in companies that are acting responsibly.
Absolutely. Look for companies that promote responsible gaming,
Okay.
that support addiction prevention programs, and advocate for fair and transparent regulations.
It's like we're adding an extra layer of due diligence to our investment process. We're not just looking at the numbers, we're considering a company's social impact as well.
And more investors are demanding that level of transparency and accountability.
So doing good is actually good for business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Companies that are perceived as ethical and responsible tend to attract more customers, retain employees, and build stronger brands.
This is giving me a lot to think about. It's like we've moved beyond just picking stocks and into the realm of impact investing,
Yeah.
where our choices can really make a difference.
I think that's a powerful realization.
Yeah.
Every investment is a vote for the kind of world we want to create.
Wow. I never thought a deep dive into Super Bowl investing would lead us here.
Me either.
But it makes sense when you think about it. The Super Bowl might be the catalyst,
Yeah.
but the impact extends far beyond the game itself.
Absolutely.
All right, so as we wrap up this epic exploration of Super Bowl investing, what's the key takeaway for our listener?
Do your research, understand the risks, And most importantly, invest responsibly.
Yeah, and remember, it's not just about picking winners. It's about aligning your investments with your values and
Mm-hmm.
contributing to a future we can all be proud of.
That's a great way to put it. Well, thanks for having me on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure having you. Until next time, may your bets be smart and your impact be positive.